back to the Maria Unleashed podcast. It's great to have you here. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey, especially my Amazon FBA journey. So some of you might already know that I started my business, Green Planet Cosmetics, a few years ago with only €5,000 investment. I had zero experience with founding a brand like real products. I found it before, to be honest. I found it before in London. So I knew what that was like. And that's probably also why I was not a little bit scared, because I just knew exactly what I was doing already. Right. But selling products, that was new. So Green Planet Cosmetics stands for luxurious, minimalistic, holistic skincare. So it evolved a lot actually into a whole lifestyle brand. But back in the day when I started in 2018, my entire goal was to set up like a passive income stream, but especially just to have anything on paper that says that I have any income from Europe. So that was my main goal. Why? Because I wanted to stay down in South Africa and just live there and, apply for a retirement visa, have my business in Europe and then just be in South Africa. So that was the idea. And that's why I did it. And I set up my entire new venture within 3 months' time. I mean, what can I say? As I always say, search a find a kill it. So I'm just that person. Like I'm, target and then you just execute, bam, efficiency. And yeah, I did all that with like 5K. Crazy, absolutely crazy. But I gotta say, I'm very good at it. So I have never met someone who is better at managing resources than myself. So I knew there was a strength I had. I always knew, I have that German gene efficiency. So, I'm very good at that. And that was never my problem. But I definitely had to figure out a whole other bunch of stuff, especially Amazon. Like I didn't have any clue what I wasn't even a customer, I believe. I ordered once or twice before on Amazon, but Amazon, I don't care. I really did not. I was not into anything related to like working with a computer and stuff, like any tech stuff. I just despised. I was like, get it away from me. Hated it. So I used to work in the film industry. I was a field girl. I loved it, like being on set and just, where the action is happening with real people. And everything was just very manual. But then again, I needed to have that for my visa. So I was like, okay, whatever it takes, I don't care. I can learn it. And I really didn't have any previous experience in that field, in online marketing and selling and product development and nothing. And I did it. I also didn't have a clue about, I did have taxation is a big one. So the reason I left Germany and I founded in London was actually exactly that. So I knew like the taxation is going to be an issue because they're going to take all of your money. And expanding from there is pretty hard. So I knew that, but I also knew it's just, again, for the paper, it doesn't matter. I can, I'm just going to evolve with it, whatever, just set it up. So basically, I want to just take you behind the scenes. So what happened in the first few months, and just a heads up, the first trial failed. So I went back to my old job, took 2 jobs, had enough money, and then I started all over again. And that time it was very successful. But yeah, so the FBA program on Amazon, I gotta say, there is this love-hate relationship. It's a great idea, I believe. Just the vision, the logistics behind it is insane. It is awesome, you guys. And just being able to order at any time, and no matter the location, it's just insane. And you can literally buy everything. And that's what I really love, because what I hate is that I have to go to 10 different shops to buy 10 different products. That's so annoying, like online or in reality. In reality, it's even more fun because I really take advantage of the little cafes and little, just the whole vibe on the street. Like, I really like that, especially in Europe. But online, I really love that I can just literally go there, find everything, and you can go very like cheap and inexpensive goods, but then you can also find very fancy products. And I was like, I love it. That's amazing. Awesome. I also loved about Amazon FBA is or was that you can literally start. Yeah, you can literally start. It doesn't matter what you sell. It doesn't really matter what the budget is. It does not really matter. You don't need any previous experience, and the most important thing, you don't need any minimum orders, which is amazing because I also talked to DHL, for instance, just to see what it was like to have DHL store and just handle all of my orders and products. And they only started at a minimum of 7,500 orders a month or a year. I can't remember. A month or a year? A year. Yeah, a month would be a lot. A year. But still, it's still a lot, especially when you start, when you have no customer base, no nothing. Yeah, if you do have a lot of money, if you have an investor, if you have a lot of money, if you can go crazy with the advertising, then that's maybe even possible. But in my case, it was just, okay, let's face it, like, I love to reach for the stars, but we also have to be realistic. So it's a beautiful blend between, and the sweet spot is somewhere in between, like somewhere in the middle. Okay, cool. So Amazon it was. I also sold on Etsy and my own platform, my own online shop. I'm also going to talk about that in the next episodes, but right now I'm just going to focus on the FBA program. So that was really just amazing. You can literally start immediately for a very lowish cost. You start to apply for the program, so you just have a flat $50 fee a month, so that's €50, and then you can literally just, tell them what you want them to do. So you can either fulfill your own orders, or you can use their storage. You can have them handle the shipping, the return, everything, right? And then you can also choose if you want to sell only in your country, or if you would like to sell European-wide, worldwide, what's going on. So you have a lot of options, which is amazing. And also a lot of fancy tools. Okay, so just that is why I chose the Amazon FBA. And I realized very soon, or like very soon, not because I had a year later, let's say I started selling, I failed, I started again, and then I sold, and that took like a year, I would say, until I was ready to go. So literally what happened was that at some point I couldn't even handle just stocking the Amazon warehouse anymore, yet alone handling these orders myself, because there was only me. I didn't have a team or anything, so I was doing and running everything. And again, I wasn't only selling on Amazon, I also had my own shop. I had the Etsy shop. I was going to markets, like the real life markets, and like everything in between. I did the advertising, the photo shoots, the everything. I mean, it was crazy. The tax, again, like that's a big one, and you want to be focused for that, and you want to know what you're doing. So I also had to learn a few new things because stuff changes all the time. And I'm just saying there's a lot to really look out for. And I basically started with only one product because my budget was teeny tiny. And I even managed to save my domain. I trademarked my brand already because I was already handling it like a multi-million-dollar big company or brand. And I was like, of course, now I'm like, well, kind of a little bit crazy, but no, back in the day I was like, of course I'm gonna trademark it, like this is gonna explode. And so like really confident. And I literally poured everything into this brand, like my time, my love, my passion. So of course I go all the way, it's all the way or nothing. So I knew that. I did ask myself that, okay, how far am I willing to go? And especially at a point where it didn't really work out so what happened basically, I started with one product. I had that, so I think so many details, but basically I had my suppliers in Southern Africa, but also in Ethiopia, And yeah, I had them send over some samples, oil samples, but also the seeds. And then I just tested for myself, like what makes more sense to get the seeds and then press it in Germany and then have it filled, or does it make more sense to have it already pressed and ready to come over to me, in the form of the oil? So I really just wanted to make sure to really get the entire process in, and also make sure to understand, okay, what are the pros, what are the cons, what to look out for, do I make my life now easier or actually harder? So in all of that, I loved that process. Just it gives you so much insight. Also talking to the guys who press it. So I was obviously on site when that happened, and I had the samples in. I'm like, hey, can you tell me your experience with that seed and what's going on? What should I look out for? How do I recognize this and this and that? And how do I know if? And it was just so awesome just to be there and really see how it's being pressed as well. It's like, okay, amazing. So I did that back and forth. I did the same with the packaging. I designed or I always had my personal bottle design in my head, because I was already using my products back then. I should say that. So by that time I was already using my own products, but I never thought of selling them again. I needed a little plan B with my visa issue. So I just found an opportunity, or I just created my own opportunity and started basically, set up my business, Green Planet Cosmetics. So yeah, I had all the suppliers already. I already knew, by using my own products for so many years, I knew what I really liked. I know the size I like. I know, all of the design I had in my head already. So I just had to basically find the supplier for that. I also tested several ones in Europe, also in Asia. And then I just, made my choice. And the one problem was with the one bottle, the first one I chose from Asia, it was beautiful design, and it was very hard to find someone within Europe who makes this type of bottle in a very minimum order quantity. So usually, you are required to pay at least 100,000 euro, for one batch, and I didn't have that. So in Asia, I found a few companies who were willing to just produce 5,000 bottles, for instance. And I had that, and then unfortunately they came, and all of them had a missing seal in the lid. So they were leaking. Bummer. Unfortunately, they are not leaking just in your bathroom, so you would only know that they're leaking on an airplane. So until we figured that out, that took some time. So basically what happened, I produced the labels for this type of design of the bottle. I had everything done and ready. And again, within 3 months, I was ready to go. I had it all set up. I had a legal team. I paid a lawyer to look over everything, the copyright as well, and then the trademark and all of that. So I've done that within 3 months. And again, just myself. And people tell me that's crazy. Yeah, maybe it is. But you can totally do that as well. And again, I had no experience whatsoever, not with the online selling and selling products. I was always into in the service industry. So I had no touch points with selling physical products. But it was a journey, and I'm so glad I did it, because dude, I'm living in a complete different universe right now. It's really insane. So yeah. So what happened was, I just stocked the Amazon warehouse, and I just sold my first bottles. And then I and my friends who were like, yeah, I want to order some as well. Do you ship to I don't know, wherever they were? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, let's go. And, do you know someone in Spain? I want to ship there, and let's. So yeah, basically what happened was that everyone who was a little bit further away literally got back to me with photos and said, Maria, what's going on here? Look at this. This is how I received it. And I was like, you are kidding me. Oh God, it looked so terrible. So the bottles were literally leaking, and the entire packaging was all oily, and it's like, no, oh, that's terrible. What a terrible first impression. And I did make a video about that, and I included some pictures. So if you want to see what I'm talking about, I'm going to link everything in the description. But yeah, it was terrible. I had like almost a heart attack. And basically what happened was we at some point, so I was just brainstorming with friends and even at some point asked physics students, and I said, listen, do you have any idea how that can happen? Because I have the bottle here, I've tested it, I've been using it, I have it in my handbag all the time, and nothing ever happened. Like, what is going on? And then they said, hey, let's make like a little mini tiny centrifuge. And I'm like, what? And I was like, yeah, we can just test, whether it happens on a plane or not or what. And that was it. So we figured out, okay, it definitely happened on a plane. What can I do? So can I still, problem is now on Amazon, you don't have a lot of control over where you can, within Germany, where you can ship to. So I can say, hey, I don't want to ship there, I don't want to ship to that country and to that country. But then within Germany, they are still putting a lot of products on airplanes and fly them down, let's say, to south of Germany. So, so I really have no control whether or not my units go on an airplane or not. So it was pretty clear that I cannot use a single unit for the Amazon FBA, at least not from that batch. So the producer, the factory, they sent over some more seals, so I then had to manually just replace all the seals, but it was again pretty clear that I cannot use that. It's just too dangerous and I don't want to risk it to have more customers complain about it. So I just cleared the entire warehouse. I just stocked, oh god, and I had to figure it out. However, I knew, because at that point it was like Christmas, so I found it in August, and at that time it was October, November. So close to the Christmas season, it was pretty clear I'm gonna miss all of that. And also until I have some more samples in and can make a decision and can also test it on airplanes, I knew, okay, there is no way I'm going to do it in the next few months. And that also meant that it was pretty clear that there was the Chinese New Year. So the factory, who did the new batch, then also was closed for that time. So I knew, okay, I'm not going to see any of the new bottles before April or May. And I decided to, literally go back to my old work, took another job or two to get the cash in, and literally just ordered again. And that's probably where most people already would have waved the white flag. And that to me was just like, now even looking back, I'm like, you know what, that was a good lesson. That was one of like priceless. It was fucking hard and it was painful. And I mean, it put me in a state of like, that was the very first time where I was really literally just like, I was so numb. Like my entire body was just like, holy shit. So I just spent all the money I had left. That was all the money I had, you guys. I had no plan B. That was plan A. I only have plan A. And shit hit the fan. And I can't even explain the state my body was in. Like my entire system just shut down. It was crazy. It really was. And looking back, I am so proud of me, my younger version, where I'm like, damn, well done, girl. Like, look at you. I'm so glad also that I kept on going, because that is why I am here right now talking to you. So, yeah, well done to myself. If you are in that situation, or if you know exactly what I'm talking about, then well done to you too. Now, that's so important. And I've learned that also, like, it took me a few more years to really understand, like, wow, what am I actually doing here? Like I'm making like the craziest stuff possible just by myself against all the odds. Oh my God. And I totally forget to like look at what I actually achieved. And that's a big one where I'm like, nowadays, I'm like, no, like really, really celebrate yourself and be proud of yourself along the way. Maybe you are not, we all have goals, and mine are maybe a bit crazier than from most people, but still, even though I didn't hit the target that I wanted, I still made the impossible possible, and I kept going, and that's amazing. And if you do that too, just really chapeau, well done, celebrate. You take a moment to really appreciate that and to just celebrate yourself. That's all I'm saying. That's very important. You must really do that. So here we go. So it took until, as I expected, like April, May, June the following year. And I just really used the time in between to kind of, rebalance, just to like, okay, figure out what can I do better the next time. So I definitely, I know the weak spots where I did not test, I also totally understood now why I should send an inspector in to test everything, because obviously I only see the product the first time once they arrive, and again they seemed fine. So I told him to do certain tests and stuff like that. I also have a different contract now, and all of these little lessons which are really like priceless. And honestly, you guys, I am glad it happened with only a few thousand units and not with a million units. And for that reason, I'm very glad it happened. And yes, it came as a shock. It was incredible. And I almost had, like, my heart almost stopped. Really, I was in such a shock. And like, shit, I can't get out of this situation. But I did get out of it. And it was fine. But in the moment, it was horrible. Like, again, it was the first time I was handling this. Now, that type of scenario is like, well, it's annoying, but honestly, I probably don't even break a sweat anymore. So it's just crazy how much more resilient you get as well. And smarter. So that's important, to really just not to like look away because it's ugly and you feel embarrassed and it's like, oh, I'm stupid. No, look at it and just really, look at as objectively as possible. Look at the entire picture. What is going on? Why did it happen? What happened? And then what can I do to make a difference the next time? How can I avoid certain situations? What can I make better or do better? And so that really was a great lesson. A painful one, but a very good one. Yeah. So next time I was smarter. I definitely also felt more prepared and I knew what to look out for. And I received my new bottles. And basically, here we go. And I launched again properly this time. And because I went back to my old job, I also saved up a little bit more money so I could actually launch 3 products instead of just 1, which was also amazing. So there I was suddenly with my first official 3 products. And I listed them on Amazon. I started with the FBA center. I mean, there are also like a few things I would do differently. What I did do though is once I decided that I'm going to start selling on Amazon, I looked up everything online I could find, and I also bought a masterclass, which was incredibly helpful. So basically, based on this masterclass, I started my Amazon journey. And and again, like, times are changing now. So even though the first time I kind of messed up or not, I don't know. But times are changing at that moment in time now. Back then, I didn't know. But there was actually more coming my way. And one of which was COVID. So 6 months in, once I started selling, I basically, got the news, okay, COVID's happening. And I was like, oh, Jesus, is that for real right now? No. So long story short, the entire COVID situation was absolutely crazy. At some point I just hit rock bottom. So I literally sold less than in my very first month, where I didn't have any customers and nothing. And then there was a time where I was selling so much that I couldn't even handle it anymore. So it really was crazy. And at that point, I was unfortunately underpricing my products. So I realized that a little bit too late, because I was hoping, and that is something I would definitely do different. And that is what I also always advise my clients now. It's just you have to put on your own life vest first. And that was what I really experienced in the hardest way possible, because I believed that, hey, if I make it accessible for more people, then more people can buy, and obviously they're smart enough to know that this is an amazing price and they will come to me instead of going to cheap, stupid stuff. They appreciate this amazing price for this awesome product, and because everyone now comes to me, I can now order in larger quantities, and therefore, keep the price low, because I also cut out all the middlemen, because I go directly to my source and all of that. I was like, hey, that's a no-brainer. That's amazing. But yeah, unfortunately, a very fair price also requires very fair customers, which is in our life right now is not the case. Rarely. It happens. You have amazing people out there as well who appreciate it and who know exactly like, oh my gosh, that's insane. But they also said, no man, it's you have to make it more expensive. And that's also interesting because I sold in different European countries, and it was very interesting to see which country said what. Because in Germany, it was always, even when I was still like so hard underpriced, it was still not cheap enough for them. But they always, especially Germans, they want the best quality, the fastest delivery for as little as possible, as little money as possible. And then let's say I went down to Spain and I saw there, I also had Italian customers, and I went to the markets there, and people, like the customers, would actually come and say, this is so good, you have to make it more expensive. And I was like, you know what, that's so crazy, because like on paper, you guys are actually like, the economy here is not great, and you are making probably less money than any average German, and yet you really do appreciate the products and the quality, and you volunteer to pay more, while the German customers are just bitching around. And I'm like, what is going on? Which is funny because we have that sometimes. We like colleagues and I, other colleagues who also sell worldwide, we have very funny stories about that actually. So yeah, it wasn't just me who experienced that, but very interesting. Like one of my personal studies where I'm still like, I still can't really explain what's happening. But yeah, basically that's what happened. And you know, because of the whole situation with the COVID lockdown, well, we all know what happened. It was very hard to get my hands on new products and just to get more raw materials in as well. So at some point I was just sold out, and so yeah, it's just crazy. And then obviously the pricing went up. I mean, the prices were just crazy. It was up and down and in circles, and I'm like, what is going on? No one could predict anything anymore. Even like when I had new new bottles coming in, so new packaging, the guys, they gave me a quote, and they said, and I never had that, like I've never heard that before. After that, it's like, okay, that's a quote, but to be honest, I can only give you the quote on the day we are producing. So it can go up, it can go down, just be prepared. And I was like, right, okay, that's just crazy. But yeah, it is what it is, it was what it is. So it's like, all right, well, we all managed. So again, I also like, I like to look back on the days that were just so insane that I literally could not handle it. I'm like, that's insane. And I made like, yeah, at some point, like between 6 and 10,000 euro a month. Just that's again, like that was me undercharging. So yeah, it's a bit of a shit show, because if I had known that an inflation is coming right after COVID, I definitely would have priced differently. But back then, I was really just, I was hoping to, no, I was just, yeah, I just really hope that people are smarter than that, than I don't know. Again, I just compare it to myself, and I really do appreciate people who give me a fair deal. I always come back and I always bring my friends, and you know, when they give out free but very useful tips, it's just, you know, I love that. Like, I'm like, you are awesome. Like, here's some extra tip. Thanks very much, because I want you to continue your journey, because who else is going to give me this amazing true advice and like very helpful advice as well. And you know, if they have to close their doors, or you know, let's say they have beautiful products, or I don't know, whatever it is, let's say there are, I don't know, some therapist, and you just love to go to your chiropractor, and you know, they give you a very good price. So that just means that you also have to be a fair customer. Like, don't bitch around, like go there often, recommend it, you know, it's all of that, and then it comes together and it works out beautifully for everyone. But then if you start to just always try to cut corners, and it's like, no, but I also want, I think I should pay less, or then complain, and then threaten people to sue them if they don't give you a discount, and all of that shit. And I experienced all of that, and it was, I mean, it's just sad to see. It really is. Um, so yeah, that was definitely, oh, the return policy on Amazon. One of the reasons I left eventually was actually exactly that. It is, absurd. It's absolutely absurd. It's people buying the products, using the products, and 2 months later sending them back and requesting a full refund. And I always have the returns shipped to my house because I want to see what's going on. And it's literally, I made a Insta story for that as well. I'm like, you guys, just a heads up. So that is the life of an FBA seller. I'm like, that is insane. That is straight up stealing from a local brand. It's insane. And then people complain about, these big like foreign companies and, the Chinese are coming. And yeah, what do you think? Like, of course, because you were just the reason that everyone else, like every local person, had to close down. Because how are you supposed to run a business like this? You can't. You can't. And I'm so stunned still to see how many people expect that. And that's what I mean again. That's not a fair customer. Like, so how can I then create a fair price for you? I can't. So I really have to calculate that in. I have to calculate these guys who come. So, and that is again like an average. So you need experience. So you need to kind of see what is happening. How often do people send stuff back and return it, and for what reason? And most of the time it's literally just no reason. They just want to use your products for free, which is absolutely shameful and disgusting. So yeah, and that doesn't even involve the stories I can tell you from the drivers. Like, I know there are some asshole drivers. I mean, also just so bad. Like, if you hate your job, do something else. As simple as that. But then also, like, really just the coolest people I've met, because I also worked in an Amazon warehouse at some point. Also, very funny story, because I was like, why do they not get their shit together? So when I pack my units, and I do it very smart, very efficiently again, and everyone just, I would say 4 out of 5 times people fuck up to just scan the products, and I'm like, how hard can it possibly be? So yeah, what do? I apply for a job in the warehouse to check out what's going on. Yeah, funny story. I will keep that for another one. But yeah, so over there I met a lot of really cool people who are also just trying, to have a job. And especially that was during COVID as well. So everyone was just happy to have a job, get the hours in, the extra cash, whatever. And yeah, what the driver said was also insane, because if someone returns your product, I as a seller, have to pay a fee, because obviously it gets handled, there's a service involved. So I am also paying Amazon a cut for the shipping. You as a customer pay also for the shipping, of course. And then if you send it back, there is, of course, also again people involved handling this return. So you need a driver to drive this from A to B and back, to someone scan it in. So there are actually people, so jobs involved, that need to be paid. So people kind of forget sometimes that there is a fee to pay. So what Amazon does, they just send it straight to us, the invoice. So then basically I'm paying like penalty fee for this return good. So I am losing the money, because I have to now refund the guy who used the entire product. I'm missing a product, because obviously, so I am basically fucked, because I just lost the product and the money, and I'm also paying the penalty fee, and of course the entire other fees you're paying. So just to ship it to the Amazon warehouse, to then store it at the Amazon warehouse, I mean, there are costs involved, and I'm paying them on a monthly basis. So yeah, all of that basically, totally for free. So I'm the one paying for it. And I thought, okay, that must be it. So I'm just the one, these sellers are basically screwed, and just have to take it and, pay the fee and hope that they only attract great customers, which is crazy. No, I was wrong about that, because the drivers also have to pay that in their monthly check. So what's that called? Like, I don't know. But basically, once a month. So in Germany, you get paid once a month. I believe in the US or what, it's every 2 weeks or so. Is that right? But basically in Germany, they say, so the guys I'm talking to, they usually earn like €300 less every month, just because there are people, and it's always the same people. So you have your little district you are driving and delivering in, and they say it's ridiculous because every time I go there, I know I can put it there, I take a photo, and the guys say it never arrived. So basically, they are stealing, and they're stealing from like other normal people who are just trying to get by, which is again disgusting. So I was like, are you kidding me? So now Amazon takes it, deducts this money from you. He's like, yep. I'm like, they sent me an invoice. They also deduct the money from me. And basically, Amazon and the customer are just like making money. So one steals the product, the other one is like, I don't care. And we are the ones paying for it. It's insane. DHL does that too, by the way, because I talked to the DHL drivers as well. And yeah, it's just very, very sad. Very sad. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So, but here I want to give you just a little, like a recap, like in general, what you should really watch out. So it obviously depends on what you are selling. I gotta be honest with you, I would never recommend selling skincare product. If that is your first product, your first shop ever, don't make your life harder than it needs to be, because skincare product and founding a skincare brand is actually like behind the scenes. The paperwork is ridiculous. The tests you have to do, like all the paperwork you need, the I don't know, regulations on everything. It is crazy. Now I did it, but honestly, if I started again tomorrow, would I do it again? No, not with that little money. Like, no, I'm actually glad I didn't know what was hitting me, back then. It was a good thing. Now I know, and now I can honestly say never again. Not with just €5,000. No, absolutely not. I also stopped selling on Amazon. Again, as I said, like this regulation with the return policy got completely out of hand. People completely lost their shit during COVID, especially towards the end. They were so unhappy. They were like, oh, Amazon is getting rich and now I'm here, I'm poor, I lost my job. So I deserve that. I should have that for free. But most of the people didn't understand is that, it's not Amazon you're hurting. It's the other people. It's like your fellow human beings. I mean, seriously. However, so that got really annoying, and what can I say? I debated with myself a lot. Also, the fees kind of got out of hand because, Amazon also raised the fees a lot, and then it's always something, and it just really got out of hand. So I paid at the very last month, I think 80% was just gone to Amazon, and then with 20% I pay the VAT, the tax, and I literally just worked for free that month. So it got absolutely crazy. And if now someone decides to return a product which they used, I have to pay for that too. So I actually lost money. So it was really this insane craziness happening, but all over the place. I heard that everywhere, and not just from my industry, everywhere. Like all of the people I talked to just reported back to me, same story. And I was like, okay, shit, we have a problem. But still, there are other categories that I would say are a bit easier to sell in, especially for the beginning. Easier as in easy to store, easy to register, easy to ship. So you want your product to be as light and small as possible. Like, again, like let's say little, like, oh yeah, like a telephone case, like these cases you can buy in like packs, or whatever, like pens and notepads and I don't know, whatever, everything that doesn't break, that doesn't expire, the stuff without expiry date is good. You can store forever. You can store it at different temperatures. So everything that makes this type of regulation easy, the better. So you want it to be light, you want to have like a very low shipping rate and stuff like that. And so yeah, again, Amazon over the years changed a lot, and I witnessed it over the years. So I sold there for 5 years, and a lot has changed. And I have to say, if I started again now, I don't believe I could do it with only 5K, because now they are way stricter with all the paperwork they need, all the numbers they need, and they need to have everything up front. So I was basically like, registering once. Like I did it more a step-by-step process, and I knew, okay, I have now 6 weeks to get the other tax number in, and then I was waiting for this number more than 3 months and crazy shit like that. But still, they allowed me to sell. And now, without these numbers, without all the registration, I don't think you can even sell anymore. And also now they are more strict on the papers for the regulation. So you always need to have, in Germany especially annoying, because they are still on manual paper. So it's not like, hey, let's quickly log on online and get just print my document and then whatever, forward it. I don't even need to print it. I just forward it to Amazon. Great. No, you have to actually take an appointment. You have to go there. You say, I need this. They make a stamp, and then you take this piece of paper home. You have to print it. You have to scan it. No, you have to scan it exactly, and then you send it to Amazon. And it became so complicated, and especially like Germany was not ready. Like, that is a good thing that came out of COVID. Suddenly they all realized, oh shit, we are in the digital age. Ooh, surprise. So yeah, good for them. And yeah, so it came with a lot of that. And I was still lucky enough to be, I don't know. On the other hand, you guys now, if you start selling on Amazon, you basically have amazing tools for free available, tools we didn't have. Like when I started in 2018, there were the amount and the quality of videos about Amazon and selling on Amazon, it was just not there. Like, the free videos you can watch now are literally the quality of the masterclass I paid for. And that's crazy to have this free content in such a great quality and literally step by step. That's insane to me. That's incredible. And you have it in different languages, and it's, I don't know, I would say that's amazing. And now also with the AI software, wow, it's even easier. Just to give you a quick example, like a real life example. So I also decided to sell on different marketplaces like Spain, Italy, Britain. I had 5 altogether, I don't know, and somewhere else. So you want to make sure that you use all the free resources Amazon gives you. And they give you great marketing tools, by the way. So the whole setup is great. The monitoring for the advertising section, also great. I loved it. Yeah, so I can say that was just really amazing to have all these free tools available, or free-ish. You are paying for the marketing, for the campaigns, of course, but still, you can have some add-ons and some extra software and whatnot, but you can totally do it without. So yeah, I really like that. You have different programs. You can always test beta versions and stuff. So especially the guys in the US, they're usually the first one to get it. And then if they like it, it usually comes over to Europe. So, but at that time, I can already say, hey, I would like to register for that software as well and just use it already. And then by the time Europe gets it, you're already very familiar with it. Or like, let's say, the early bird program and stuff like that. So I made sure to always, that I was always on top of the game, that I really made the most out of the free resources Amazon gave me. So, and that also meant opening a shop in, let's say, Spain, and also translating my entire content into Spanish and into English for the British market, and then obviously Italian for the Italian market. So I did that, and it took me, English was easy because I already spoke the language, and yeah, Spanish and Italian, and I don't even know what else. There was a third one. Which was it? I don't know. France. Yes. So these languages, not so great. So I was literally looking for people, and I said, hey, who's interested in helping me out translating this content for me in, these languages? And in exchange, you get to choose, 5 of my products if you like. So thankfully, everyone really loved my products and everyone was very happy to help. But still, it took a lot of time. So I basically tried it for myself, because it sometimes took a while to, find the people, make sure they had time, because again, it's like, it was a free job, so to speak, and they were just happy to receive these goodies from me. So in the end, it took us 200 hours to just translate the entire content, to really make it pretty, and not just like, well, Google Translator and done. No, you always go the extra mile. So 200 hours just there, unpaid. You just, it's an investment. You put it in, and hopefully you will get a return for that. So nowadays, I'm sorry, but you just head over to ChatGPT, you give them the text, and I mean, especially for translation, it is insanely brilliant. It is amazing. I love it. I love it. And it's done in 5 minutes. Isn't that insane? So on one hand, yes, it became a little bit, and maybe in some parts a lot harder to sell. But on the other hand, the people who start now have incredible tools we didn't have. I mean, I didn't even dream of it. So you see, give and take. Yes, it's harder. On the other hand, you also have way better tools available than we had. So you see, and also there's one other thing. It's like this. It's also a belief that is not really true, I would say. And I had to listen to it already in 2018. There were people telling me, you are too late for Amazon. The time is over, because the heydays were apparently between 2012 and 15. Okay, so, and I was like, too late. And I was like, whatever, like I have no plan B again. So I'm just doing it without overthinking, second guessing, just do it. And that was exactly right. And that is what I also tell my clients now. It is never too late, because the market is always changing. And yes, maybe back in the day it was easier. Like people who actually started, like the guy I did the masterclass with, he started in 2012, and he also said he got insanely rich, and he was like early 20, and he's like, I cannot believe this. And I was like, are you crazy? He's like, no, it was so ridiculous. It was like the Wild West. You could do what you wanted. You would just get like insane amount of money every month. And I was like, that is crazy. But yeah, I totally understood what he meant, because again, during my time, there were a lot of restrictions coming our way. And it's like more, and it built up. And I was like, okay, so I see. Yeah, of course, without the regulations, you do what you want to do, and just everyone just earns a ton of money. So yeah, but still, it is always going forward. This is always a platform that will exist probably. And if not, there will come a similar one. And again, as Amazon evolves, your tools you have, you can use free tools, you guys. You don't even have to pay for them. They also evolve. So I would say if this passive income situation is actually something you are considering, Amazon still, I believe, is a great way of trying, to sell. Again, you have to find your niche or not. I don't know. I did. And you just have to kind of trial, error, and just figure it out by yourself. Like, are the people who want your product, are they on Amazon? Yes or no? And you can only find out by doing it, and then you just go from there. Sometimes it's even the marketplace. Like maybe if you don't sell well in, I don't know, Germany, try the US marketplace, try the Spanish, I don't know, just try around. You have to really see what works for you, because there is no one size fits all, and there is no magic formula. So many people always want me to give them this there, but there must be, and especially for the SEO optimization and keywords and stuff, there is no such thing. There's not. Otherwise we would all be on the top already if there was this one magic formula. So everything is so unique, and it depending on where you are selling and who the customers are, and also what is the price range, and so many different factors come and just change everything constantly. Okay, so, but I want to just quickly, I made some notes here for you so I don't forget. So yeah, basically, if you want to start with the basic setup. So what do you actually want to sell? Like really make sure that you understand what it is you want to sell. Is it just a trend? Is it like a trending product? You have to be aware of what that means. So I have my brand, and I always sell my private label brand. So I make so again, skincare products, but I also made soaps, which didn't go well on Amazon. So I just did that for the market and on my platform, and it was way better there. So again, that's like a, it's experience. I had to try it. And then I knew, okay, so let's say my facial oil, Marula Baobab, all of them always ranked number one organically over years in a row. And people loved it. And the soap, which is also incredible, just on Amazon, no one was interested. If I go to the markets, that's what always sells out first. So you see, you have to just find your crowd, your people, and your marketplace. So, and again, I did it all. So I definitely have a lot of, comparison and experience on the different places. But and I would say in general, probably FBA was for me the most profitable, for sure. It was easy in a sense that I was very, very happy that Amazon did the fulfillment, the shipping, because once it got very busy and I made, I don't know, like 8, 9, 10K a month, it was, I was literally, that was even a month where I was sold out half of it, like 2 weeks. So I only sold for 2 weeks, and suddenly that was actually the amount I prepped for the next 2 months. I just sold in 2 weeks, and suddenly I was there and I didn't have any. I was like, oh my God, are you crazy right now? What? So I then had to, figure out how to just reproduce everything and make it quick, because right now apparently everyone wants it. And still I sold so much, it was crazy. And it showed me my limitations, because that was literally all I could handle as one person, and I was working overtime 15 hours every day, you guys, weekends, Christmas, New Year's, doesn't matter, every day. And I realized, shit. And it's still not enough, not in Germany. So in Germany, if you are self-employed, I would say you need at least 10K a month after tax. Okay, so if I want that, I will need to make between 60, 70, 100K a month on Amazon. So I can then say, okay, and now I have my between 10 and 20K after tax. And that was just not, again, I couldn't even do it. Like, I was struggling at that, and now to multiply that by 10, no way. So that means I will have to employ people, or get help, then I have to pay them. And then I was calculating all of that, and I was like, okay, but now I have all these extra responsibilities and jobs to pay, basically, or roles to fill and then pay. Then in the end, I still end up with less money. So this entire thing was like, oh, damn it. Okay, so yeah. So that's why I'm saying, really make sure you understand the product you are selling. Because for me, it was just too much, like the amount of time and effort and work I put into one product. In the end, it wasn't worth selling it on Amazon for, because they also kind of cap you at a price range. So they don't allow you to go extremely overboard with it. But in the end, I do have to, balance out all the stuff, the customers do, and the units that go missing or break in the storage and all of that. So, you really have to monitor the income and the expenses very well. And at some point, I was just like, okay, I'm probably better off just selling on my own channel. I will sell less, I know. So it is indeed true. So I sold so many units. I had so many customers, so many returning customers on Amazon. And still a year later, I'm still not where I was at with Amazon for my own shop. So yeah, the reach of Amazon is insane. It's great. And again, that's amazing if you start out, if you don't have any experience, any customer base or existing customer base. That is just a really great way to start. So I'm very grateful for that. And also the entire journey, the Amazon journey, was just also one for the books. And I covered everything, like the highs, the lows, and everything in between. So yeah, make sure you know exactly what to sell and who your customers are, and then make sure that you kind of match that on Amazon. So the type of person that goes shopping on Amazon, is that actually the type of person that comes and appreciates your product. Also, handmade stuff is what I would really, I would never ever sell handmade stuff on Amazon again. Because again, the amount of time you put into it, and then people just easily returning it and don't even, oh, I ordered, oh, you know what, I actually don't want it. And it's just, no, it doesn't work like that. Not for that quality. And that's what I also realized. So if I sell again on Amazon, it's like, it's not going to be that high of a quality product. And yeah, as I said earlier, I would definitely go for something that is just very easy to handle, easy to store, and a product that needs to be reordered all the time, something like that. So yeah, I can also recommend to watch all the free content that you can get, or book masterclasses, or contact people who have sold successfully on Amazon and who know exactly what they're doing and who know the ins and outs. Again, because the masterclass, so the guy who taught me actually gave me a lot of useful tips that definitely would have created issues along the way, but I knew them before. I knew what to look out, and I could avoid these completely. Same example with the bottles. It's just that with the bottles, I was just like, nah, I mean, I tested them. I had several bottles coming as testers, and I was just trying around, testing them. Everything looked fine. But it didn't occur to me to send someone down there to check the bottles and to really, have them test them as well and stuff. So now I know, again, lesson learned. But it definitely, it cost me a lot of money. And that is why you pay a professional for the experience, for the consultation, because that is exactly it. From the experience, they can really spare you a lot of nerve and time and money. And back in the day, because I had just such a teeny tiny budget, I was always like, no, I can do it myself. I can do everything myself. Now I would do it differently, for sure. I would really just cut straight to it. I was like, okay, this is what I want. I want the best person. I want to hire you for like 3 hours. Please, can we go through everything together? And then I happily pay them. Back in the day, I was like, oh no, why? I can do it easily myself. Well, joke was on me. So, but then again, it's like a learning curve, I guess. So if you do use the FBA Center, always be aware that you are on top of all the logistical issues that might occur and the pricing. Very, very important. So yeah, again, the measurements, the shipping rate for it. Just always be aware when you create your product. So not, once you have your product and then maybe, I should have made it smaller so the customers save shipping cost. It's, within the product. So if you are in control of the design or of the product development, always make sure to think ahead. Like, how easy is it to handle? How easy is it to ship, etc. It's very important. It again can save you a lot of time. It also saves your customers a lot of money. And if they save shipping costs, they are happier to purchase from your store than from your colleague, let's say, who charges $5 for shipping. So I'm just saying, be smarter with that and really always think a little bit ahead. That's important. Just look at the big picture. So also be aware how you want to handle the entire logistic between Amazon and you and the factory, let's say. So if you are making the product, then obviously you have to, create the product. So for me, I had to bring together 3 continents. I mean, it's crazy. But I did it. So yeah, but still, it all kind of happened in my place, so in Germany. And I had to make sure that everyone else delivered on time. Everything is where I need it in Germany, once we are ready to fill the bottles, label the bottles, prep the packaging and everything. And then also prep the orders, the big ones that go into the Amazon warehouse. So that is also a lot if you are alone. It is crazy. It really is crazy. So most of the colleagues I have for FBA centers are actually guys. I don't have one female colleague, to be honest. Everyone I know who's selling on FBA are guys. So it's about time. More girls. I mean, seriously. I don't know what that is. Is it just not something like women do? I don't know. But it's interesting. But anyway, so the guys, I talk to, they're always like, hey, why do you make it so hard? I'm like, listen, guys, you guys are like drop shipping. I'm not drop shipping. So I have my dream product here and I design it, and that is just what I do. But you guys, so if you're drop shipping, you basically go for trends, or you find a niche and you find a factory producing exactly that product, and then it goes usually straight from the factory, wherever it may be, straight to the Amazon warehouse. Obviously, you want to test the orders as well. So the first, I don't know, 3 should probably go straight to your place. You check it, you take samples. If everything goes well, so if you have a good relationship with the factory, then, you can easily say, okay, listen now, please send everything straight to the warehouse and just cut me out. And obviously that also saves you money, because you have to pay for the shipments from your place to the Amazon warehouse. And, instead of having 3 different shipments, you just have one, and it goes straight from the factory to the warehouse. And also the setup Amazon provides is easy, like very, very easy, very straightforward. And yeah, you can easily do that online. You can pre-schedule everything. You get it easy. Very, very awesome, easy, like, thank you. Nice. So yeah, always keep that in mind as well. What's better for you. Okay? So again, it's a lot to really figure out beforehand. And then according to this, really calculate the price and calculate more in, because you will have returns at some point. There's always, again, especially after COVID, it was like this crazy situation with the inflation happening, and then the war in Ukraine. And it's like everything it went through the roof. It was insane. And I always had little buffers in my price, because I always purchased in a different currency, and that fluctuates a lot as well, so I don't want to lose money there. So I always have buffers for everything, and they saved me, but they weren't enough. So honest and free advice is, make sure you really calculate well, and then add another few bucks, because you will need them at some point. Always calculate the shipping as well, so really make sure to understand where you want to ship to. Is it only, I don't know, the US? Is it only one country in Europe, let's say Germany, or is it worldwide? And what are the shipping fees for that as well? And also, especially if you have, let's say I was in Germany, I was at that point registered in Germany, and then when I shipped to Italy and France and Spain, it was always more expensive than within Germany, but a lot more. So I also didn't know that. So then I also changed the pricing for these platforms as well, and all of that. So then you have to really think about, hey, would it make more sense to actually register in that country and just store the products directly in that country? But you can only know that if you have selling experience, if you do know your customers and where they are at and located. So that helps. If you don't know, you have to start somewhere. I'm just saying, keep that in mind. And then obviously set up the Amazon product page as beautiful as possible. Use beautiful photos if you can, not just like Photoshop stupid shit. People, like, again, now these days you have like amazing AI software who can make this beautiful product shot. Again, read the regulations, please, if you're allowed to use that publicly or not. And for commerce, make sure to read it. It's important. You don't want to pay money for that or create more issues. Again, it is complicated enough as it is. So make sure to read that. Otherwise, again, depending on what it is, if it is a product that's been produced in a factory somewhere in China, even these guys, they have, some have really shitty photos and some have really beautiful photos. So ask them for like stock photos, or if they have an internal photographer, or I don't know, ask them. If not, if you are creating products and unique products, I always recommend take photos, take professional photos. So invest into good photos, because that is what sells. That is, just compare it with you. What are you going for when you are online, when you are, shopping, browsing? What is it that sells to you? It's most likely the photo and then the price. So yeah, keep that in mind. Have beautiful pictures and up to date, but also be real about it. Don't do too much photo shopping, whatnot, because again, people are getting smarter and smarter, and if they are annoyed, if they are like, hey, it doesn't look at all, like you described it, or like I saw it on the website. They just complain, and then Amazon doesn't want their customers complaining, so you will always have to pay for it. And then at some point, if you have too many complaints, and you are also in trouble. And so really make sure to just stick to the truth. And so what else? Yeah, always also really use all the freebies Amazon provides. So back in the day, it was the A+ content. So yes, it is extra work, but again, it will bring you a 5 kilometer forward. It's just this extra, because otherwise you have I don't know how many people actually selling on Amazon, and all of them have the same product page. And then especially if it's like drop shipping, you have a lot of the similar products. So everyone is literally selling your product. For me, it was different because I was making the product, so I had really unique products. But yeah, if it is always the same, and you literally even have the same pictures, you guys make sure that your front page looks amazing and great, and it's easy to just scan and really delivers. Okay, very important. If you can, sign up for free, like the beta versions, because you can always, again, they will come eventually, and you have to then learn this new version and this new layout of the page and whatnot. Just if you can, if you have time. I always did it, and it always paid out for me. I always made sure that I was on top of it, and I got used to the new and the latest versions all the time. So once they are mandatory for everyone, you already know your game. So then it's setting up marketing ads. Yes, once you have everything registered, obviously make sure that the keywords, the title, you have to nail it. That is really half. There's really half of it, to be honest, to be found. Like in the beginning, I didn't have any budget for advertising. I know, crazy, but I didn't. So I just really made sure that I know my customers. And because I was my customer, I was literally swapping. Like when I was working, I was like, okay, right now I swap to customer mode. What do I research when I want to find products such as mine? Okay, and that is how you start. So get a little bit inspired by the top ranked, organically ranked products, but don't copy them too much, because you just want to make sure that you are unique and authentic, and you are selling your product, and then you will attract the right customers as well. And if you can, always set up the ads. It's a great tool. I started at some point then, once I had my first like orders in, and regular orders, and they were getting more. Every month was just more and double. It was crazy. So it took a little while. I would say it took, for me it's hard to say because COVID hit. So I don't really know what it's like when we don't have COVID or inflation. But for me it took, like, I would say, until it really took off, a year. Maybe 9 months, maybe 10, but just roughly a year, I would say. Yeah. So with the ads, I started with $10. I kid you not, $10, that's what I did, that's what I had. So I set up different campaigns. I did manual campaigns, I did automated campaigns. I literally did them for every product, and then I just compared them, the performance. But guys, it takes time. So please don't just sit there for a week and now look at because you need data, and especially with like $10, it takes a long time. And again, like I would say the ads, they actually the first return of investment, like a decent one, I was also making after a year of just letting them run, just like that. Just like, yes, always observe them, always monitor them, because you don't want to go crazy, you don't want to spend too much money on them. So I just made sure, okay, I also, that is again, like how I do it. It's another freebie for you guys if you're listening. Congratulations, here's another free amazing tip. Always make sure to never ever touch a campaign that is going and that's going well. Make a copy and then try around on the copy, but never on the campaign that is like, don't ever touch it. So yeah, and that is basically how I just over the years got my data in, and I then set up new campaigns. And I also use the negative keywords. Again, use everything you have, every tool, everything you can use it, and then monitor it. Just measure the performance, compare it, and then also for you have to at some point also let go of campaigns. So if they are completely going overboard and you pay more than you make, you guys stop it and then really look at it, and then look also at other products that are again ranked very high. What are they using? What kind of advertisings are they doing? What is they, what keywords do they use and stuff like that. Also look at again the data will show you where did the people come from. Did they come from another product and spotted yours and it's like, oh, what's that? Or where does the traffic come from? Very important. And then focus on that. Just delete everything that doesn't work out, like completely like cut it loose, like that's it, okay, and focus on whatever it is that is working, and you want to really spend your money and time on that. And then at some point I was literally just organically ranked number one for 3 out of my 5 products, and the other 2 products I only they came in, I would say 2 or 8 months before I stopped selling on Amazon. So I can't really tell you, they probably also would have made it, because especially one of the oils, like the Kalahari melon oil, is always now sold out in my shop. People are requesting it. I have a wait list for it, and I bet if I was still selling on Amazon, I mean, it would be crazy over the roof. Again, I don't know, but that is my prediction. But so yeah, and again, I did that. I started for 5K, 5,000 euro, zero experience, zero customers. I founded a new skincare brand and started selling on Amazon. And I literally a year later sold out all of my products, and 3 out of my 5 products were organically ranked number 1, and not just one time off or like twice or like, oh, this week in December. No, all the time. Unless I was sold out, then of course they go down in rank. As soon as I restocked, boom, number 1 again. So yeah, I'm just saying, back in the day I didn't appreciate it a lot because it was, I wouldn't say pretty normal, and I wanted to, because after the tax in Germany it's 50% almost, there isn't much left for you. And now that some from what it used to be to what it is now, what you're getting is kind of sad. So I was always measuring it at the little bit that stayed left, and I was like, oh, that's nothing, I want more. But then I totally forgot to look at what I actually built, like what I created with so little money. Insane. And so much competition, and alone, you guys. I did that alone with a laptop. I didn't even have a proper like setup and computer screen, and I still to this day don't even have a mouse. So yeah, and if I can do it, so can you. No excuses anymore. No. All right, what else do I have on my list? Oh yeah, and then literally just the last one here, like always go the extra mile. And that's true for everything. It doesn't matter whether it's selling on Amazon, on Etsy, or just your 9-to-5 job. If you want to be exceptional and the best and the go-to person or brand, go the extra mile. Yes, it is. It takes time. It's sometimes, it's like, but really it pays out. Like people are becoming smarter and smarter. And I feel that, like, I have customers coming back to me, like they were customers when I was selling on Amazon. Then they decided to, oh no, but now I have to type in my street address again. So no, I'm just going to stay here on Amazon. So like literally, I'm not kidding you. People have actually trouble to type in their address, like manually. And I'm like, you guys. However, so she went off the hills with other brands for the same product, or not the same, because again mine was unique, but this category. And she came back also saying, holy shit, I'm so glad I found you here now, and I'm so glad you are still selling. And yes, it is more expensive, but it's so worth it. And she also said what she loves the most is that So on Amazon, I always, when I see people are returning customers and they are with me for like 2 years or so, I'm always like, hey, it's amazing. That is like your whatever 20th order. So here is a little voucher. Thank you so much. I see you. I appreciate you. So I always type that manually. I don't just have this random automated text and email set up. I always go the extra mile. When I ask for reviews, I go the extra mile. I, look at them like, look, hey, you are a returning customer. I thank you so much. Like, thanks for choosing a local brand, virtual high five, stuff like that. I just keep it interesting and really like appreciate them as well and thank them for choosing a local brand over some, I don't know, big foreign company. And people, they noticed and they liked it and they appreciated that too. So, and she came back and she's like, you know what, I always loved your emails. And so that is why I hated it. I never leave reviews, but I always gave 5 stars for yours, like, because it's just such a heartwarming email. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Thank you. So she came to my shop the very first time after a few years. And so when I send it out, I always write a handwritten card and again say, hey, thanks, the name, and then thanks so much and great to welcome you back and what. And she was like, she unwrapped it and she said, I've never received such an amazing just shipment, it wasn't even, hey, it's a gift or anything, like tick here if it's a gift, nothing like that. And I'm like, no, everything goes out like this because it is a gift to yourself and I want you to open it and to feel that way. And she couldn't believe it and she was like, oh my gosh, I love everything about it. That is amazing. And that's why I really wanted to take time to write to you and really say, thank you, this is incredible. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I love that. I love to hear that feedback because, yeah, you have other customers too, the complainer, the make my life very hard type of person. But yeah, then you have this client and customer and you are like, oh my gosh, I'm in heaven. I have the best customers. That's awesome. And that's what I mean. It really comes back to you. So what you just project out, it will come back to you. So go the extra mile and people will celebrate you for it and they do appreciate it. Sometimes it takes a little while and they also have to see the ugly side of, just some other brands to really appreciate your work and what you do and the little extra you give. So yeah, I really hope it helps. I always like to give examples practical examples of what's happening. I was like, when I started this podcast, this episode just now, I was like, maybe I should just go straight through the list, like just, okay, number 1, number 2, and then, done in 20 minutes. And now I've been talking for over an hour. I just really like to give you guys like insight and examples. Because I can give you but you can literally Google it and Google will give you exactly probably a similar list to that. Because that's just what it is, right? That is just what it is. But then it still is like, I don't know, yeah. I just personally love to have an example. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. That happened to me. Like, okay, cool. So now, and imagine if the next is, and it just really helps. So I hope you're like me when it comes to that. And I really hope that I could make it a little bit clearer maybe on what's happening behind the scenes. Who's paying for what happens if, like, how do you start? How long does it take? And then, you take it from there. But please always keep in mind, it takes time. It takes time. The times are over that you are the first one selling or one of the first ones. And you have so much competition out there now. But still, again, you have incredible tools to just really help yourself to make your product or your copy at least stand out. Invest into great photos. Really do research. Ask people. Go around, ask people, why do you, use this product? What do you want from this product? How do you search for it online? Like, what would you search for if you want this beard oil? And literally, that's how I do research. Like on the markets, but also randomly sometimes in a store where I'm like looking at beard oil, yeah, and just to see how, because I don't have a beard, so I don't know. Like I have to ask the guys with a beard, And that's what I literally did. So I'm standing there looking at this guy with this beautiful, like very bushy, like big beard. I'm like, excuse me, can I just ask you one thing? And then we chatted and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm doing research because I, have a new product coming out. And I just want to make sure that it's exactly what guys like you need. So, and he was like, hey, well done. I like that. I'm glad that I talked to you. Stuff like that. So, and then literally first customer right there. So if you are not like that, if you don't like the one-on-one action with people, don't worry about it, but really do your research. And it doesn't matter how, but just really, get to know your customers. It makes your life easier for sure. And other than that, I'm sorry, but it comes down to trial and error. Just really just figure it out, and time. I know, and that is what we don't have, but yeah, definitely, man, it is, just because it doesn't happen immediately or within 3 months, it doesn't mean that you suck, that you're not good enough, that your products are shitty. No, it just means that it takes time, you guys. And 3 months to really compete with guys that have been selling there for 10 years, it's nothing. Even a year is nothing. But once you get there, you will get the reward. And, then you have this amazing passive income, ideally, So yeah, hang in there. It is all possible. I did it against all the odds. And then I left the show against all the odds. So yeah, it is just what it is. And now my business also evolved into a complete, like, bigger version of it, and also a little more direct, because now I really just focus on direct. Like, I don't want a middleman. I want to have direct access to my customers, to my clients. So yeah, and I guess, it just goes from there, and you grow with it. And sometimes, it's just the first. Also, you guys, keep in mind, there is like a season involved. And for me, I always made the best. I always earned the most money between November and March. That was just the time where I was making a lot of cash. But in June and July and August, I barely had any orders in, like even on Amazon, or I don't know, maybe like 60 or 80. But that was really little, to be honest. So yeah, and that's normal. And I had that every year, like 4 years, 5 years, every time. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it's not me. It's not I did a mistake or anything. No, it's just the season, because people it's in Europe, July, August, they're on the beach. They're chilling. They don't, they don't have their phone with them. I don't know. Best case, they don't. So, and that's just what it is. So I just really got used to that and knew, okay, cool. So I always also put aside a little money for the summer, because I know it's very quiet during the holiday season. And then the show goes on in September. Here we go. And then the Christmas season comes. And again, you make a lot of money, ideally. So now, please let me know if you do have a journey, if you are selling on Amazon, and if you find that interesting, or if you want me to go a little deeper on a certain subject, let me know. Reach out to me, contact me directly. I would love to just, kind of, make that part of the next Amazon episode. All right, you guys, have a beautiful day. I will catch up with you in the next episode. Take care. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode and found exactly what you needed from it. If you would like to support my mission, don't forget to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star review. I appreciate your guys' support massively. For more, head over to my website at greenplanetcosmetics.com, where you will find free content, my online workshops, and of course, my signature expert class. If you are feeling called to dive deeper, I also offer one-on-one sessions and intensive packages. Just reach out to me directly. And last but not least, if you have any further questions, business or lifestyle related, or if you would like to hear more about my story, don't hesitate to ask. I would love to hear from you and weave your questions into my future episodes. Now, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.